Just quickly before I forget, I wanted to put in one more note that I had planned to also go through all of my old writings in this series, and even potentially the previous one, the crypto town stuff or whatever, in order to give an even broader context of my my history and what I've been concerned with, and the kind of things that I was investigating and looking into and concerned with, which led me all along my journey, accelerated through my expression and through my interaction with the community, which I deeply, deeply am grateful for each and every one of you. So I just wanted to note that the history and context is also, I think, really important for a piece like this. Okay, so I'd taken a quick break there, go inside, warm up. Also cleared off a bit of storage on the recording device. I now have 2 or 3 hours. Definitely not going to record for that long. It's currently it's at 9:30 at night. I might go for another hour. It's possible. Marathon would not be too healthy for me. But at any rate, I've already done about 2 hours tonight, 2 hours yesterday, another 4 hours on Saturday. So I'm just going to keep going here. I still feel like I have quite a bit of steam. Different topics. I haven't even thought about it right now. Just jumping back in. I do have a small sticky note with a few little basic topics on it. As far as what we're talking about, like a context of meaning for the work that I'm iterating here currently, the domain, the strike point domain of the bootstrap. I guess it helps to iterate different kind of I guess ways or contexts that the system could be utilized, different scenarios and examples, which I guess you could say are could be constructed, fabricated into programs and run again. So this is like the feedback protocol, except so you're setting up an intentional experiment, running feedback. So all these different kind of entry points to this domain, this strike point domain. Each entry point may be understood or relevant by a different set of people. So this is why I'm trying to make a broad stroke across so many different potential domains, which people may be familiar with, and in which they can then compare my knowledge or my experience with that, or maybe even hop in and start iterating protocols, establish a guild hall, this kind of stuff. So I was planning on going into a bit more detail about, well, it's a little bit difficult for me, but to manage, not saying anything too personal or revealing, or what are those kind of things, you know, out of respect for others. So in talking about problems with group life or with church, or problems with the guild or whatever you're experiencing, it's here's a protocol, is that it's almost always better to say that the capital G guild has a problem, rather than or expresses a certain problem, or tends to have a certain problem, rather than saying my guild, or this proximity guild, my proximity guild has a problem with judgment, or whatever you're going to say, with tribalism. That's that kind of exclusivity based on group identity. And if you know anything about guild systems, or have heard stories about them from the past, I guess, or what you could imagine, I think a lot of the cases, these were networks of people who shared in certain skill sets and endeavored to share and disciple and train each other, and so they had, of course, groups of people who were interested, and yet you also had to protect from sort of saboteurs, or whatever, cultural saboteurs, charlatans, who are perhaps just going off of a participant dynamic in their perception or their perspective. So charlatans who are maybe charismatic and sound good, but don't know how to so-called walk the walk, so to say, which is a function of membership. So the guilds in situation, the proximity guilds, that when we see instances of these through time, they've in the past, and even we'll see reflections of this today, where you do have sort of trust between people, but that's really all that it should be. But of course we have, I guess these are maybe aggregations of trust when you have interfaces with sort of like especially externalized and state-like functions or operations. So anyways, because relationships are a fundamental constraint of proximity guilds, so you have to kind of trust people, you have to establish relationships. And so the way that the guild always came in history that I know of, or that I can imagine, is this sort of exclusivity to it, to have that exclusive, like, well, here's an example. So this is the masterpiece protocol. So whatever skill set it is that you would like to enter a guild and work with people who are dealing and sharing with about that, the masterpiece protocol says that you have to produce some sort of media expression which exemplifies your skill, your current skill within that domain of behavior. So in other words, produce content, produce a masterpiece. And this is what you would then submit to the guild. So this would be a proximity guild instance, similar to how I would say that like the Portal Mountain Lobby is a proximity guild, but it's really doing a function that's general, that we'll see reflected elsewhere. And so once you submit this masterpiece within the context of a guild. So in the case of Portal Mountain in its current expression and in this Telegram chat network, there is the campus is one level, so to speak, of coherence higher than the lobby. So the lobby is for guests and participants, and campus is for members, and then the academy is for masters. So this is what we're claiming. This is an isomorphic structure, that this makes sense, that you should be collaborating in areas where you can filter out noise. So the Portal Mountain Proximity Guild network on Telegram, because it's a proximity guild. There's people here. There's relations. There's a context. In other words, and so we may not add just anybody to the campus. Our general rule of thumb is that members only, but coherence is something that you may try to state yourself. It's really a statement to yourself. That's the only relevance. You never say what coherence you think that you've achieved to anybody but yourself, a measuring stick or a measuring device, or you could call them signposts along a path, along a journey. So you're seeing signposts. So a signpost is through feedback recognized. So if you're at a lower coherence, you won't know what membership is if you're only a participant. However, one day will come if you are becoming skilled, and if you are growing in your discipline, or in rather your accountability and your awareness as a participant. Your awareness and your accountability. Okay, yeah, so then you would self-identify yourself as maybe a member, but by experiencing finally when you run feedback, oh, that's what it means to be a member. That's what it means. So you finally get it. It makes sense. It's not that, like, if you're pondering or wondering and just claiming and giving yourself identities of coherence, here's the flip side, is that one can easily and often disqualify themselves as expressing certain degrees of coherence. So here's another part of this coherence protocol, I guess, is that you can notice in others and in other expressions where constraints of coherence have been breached, and they just get run over like they're nothing. And so you may understand why the behavior is not harmonious or isomorphic, but they do not as a participant. And this is again the where if one becomes stagnant and not growing and not really trying feedback and changing their life and everything, this is where hypocrisy grows. And it's very spiritually annoying. You don't have to say anything to that person, but you get that annoyance feeling that somebody is being selfish or is whatever else, especially when they claim to be following certain sets of dogmas or whatever, like claiming to be a Christian, for example, which of course I've encountered hypocrisy in the last couple years. It's an interesting subject, because people are trying, they're really trying, but some of them are very comfortable and they're not really thinking too hard about what they're actually doing. It's more of a comfort thing. that they've already achieved. However, whatever it is they need to achieve, they've already got it. Nothing can shake their unshakable foundation, etc. But in many cases, so we can disqualify ourselves. So we can attempt to self-identify where we are, and as well we can often continually disqualify ourselves from certain degrees of coherence. So I guess being invited to so the campus, which is a filtered group intended to collect higher, or filter out lower coherence to collect higher coherence interactions. Now we're also using the bucket protocol, which means that one proximity guild has to fill up and overflow before you start really using another one. As well, the technology isn't quite here yet for this. This is a makeshift network. Whereas within the dashboard software, a major component of this is the ability to chat in this sort of filtered by chatting by coherence. So things spoken about in the campus or in the academy will filter down, and you can request to start up, like make a comment on something, and you can start up, let's say, a forum discussion on a certain set of points that were said. So like you could highlight a bunch of, say, back and forth chat between two people and say, I have a question about this discussion. And then, so even at the lobby, your way of participating back is for creating these questions about what's being expressed. And so it's presumed a certain amount, or a certain amount of it is being coherently expressed at a higher area. So this is why the space has to be protected. And going about the process of actually inviting somebody into the campus is it's going to be up to the, as I've said or called this before, the constitution, I guess, of the Proximity Guild. So in our case, we've just added people that that we feel express high coherence, that we're sure that they have not consistently disqualified themselves. That's really what we're looking for. What we can sort of observe is that they don't continually disqualify themselves, as most do. But then, so yeah, somebody has to be led into a chat. So this is why we have to protect the space, because it is kind of stopgap measures. These are just hacking together tools and waiting for the dashboard, which runs on Scepter. Right. So in the meantime, we have these. So like with Scepter, the data, like every message is unenclosable. So once you have it, no one can take it away from you. So that's an example of like these conversations. They'll be stored on a local database or local storage where possible. And then like you don't have to worry about censorship and all that, because you have your own view, whatever view of the data that you want, and other people can have their own view. But the way that the data migrates or like is memetically selected, it's not something that you can just shut down. Like as far as taking a video off YouTube, well, this problem is already or the problem with this is already apparent if you look at how something can simply be put on any other number of video sharing services. Right? So imagine if that video, in the sharing of it or download or viewing of it, optionally a copy would be downloaded to the local storage. Of course, video is taking lots of space, so not everyone would do this. But as far as messages and like the unfolding of various narrative chains of discussion between people, I think this so the dashboard will kind of bootstrap the question and answering type thing just by the structure of Portal Mountain itself. So having a flowing chat, but also being able to slow down and pause certain parts of the chat and just have a discussion. And again, when you receive the parts of this discussion, whatever you've read, it's being received in a way that the data is now part of you. It's a part of your whole, under your control, and censorship is not has its decentralized form, I guess you could say, which is just simply mimetic selection. If I don't like something, I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to share it to my friends. So this is the web of trust stuff getting into there. I think that the web of trust has a lot of potential to solve many problems that we're currently experiencing in trying to make platform economies with their centralizing of power and resources and all this typical stuff, when all you're doing is setting up or making arrangements between parties, which in a world of trust can be an important function, but ultimately, like, we should be having the tools to just do this stuff more autonomously. I'm going to pause it for a bit. So just to finish the thought on the Portal Mountain proximity guilds, or proximity guilds in general, in the context of guilds and what's been thought of in the past as a guild system, and just kind of that nature of trust between humans, that you can't really just let anybody in, because then you're going to be increasing the noise to signal ratio. So then I guess I can give an example of one of the protocols for the lobby. So it's like, I guess, the welcome protocol, and it means that anybody who joins, they should try to be made welcome. We can say welcome. This also works as for searching back for when people joined. There's almost always the word welcome there, so you can see how they interacted with others at the Portal Mountain lobby. At the portal. So that basically the protocol is the welcome protocol, and another facet of that is to actually be warm and welcoming, to in general make the space and the environment feel welcome to people, so that even over time they feel comfortable, and this will help to encourage the development of awareness that some things are good and some people seem to be different, and their behavior seems good, and seems like maybe you can learn about that. And then of course some commitments, which is what leads to participation and the development of the skill of accountability. I just wanted to put a quick note here about some of the, I guess, where some of the motivation comes from and has come from in the past. Just when coming along with the embodiment, or the becoming aware of the context of the body, has been a great sorrow for a feeling of the suffering of all the people in the world, and what kind of systems we have set up which are in such decayed states. So I just know it, that if I even have free time and I have a job and food on the table, like, I'm at the top. And again, I'm just thankful for this time that I have to be able to talk about stuff that matters in this context, that we are doing things in a very decayed, uncaring state. Just being held together by state-sponsored spectacle, and all substance having been siphoned off, all excess, all organs harvested. That's what you didn't realize yet, is that most of your organs have already been harvested. If you're afraid of walking through a back alley and somebody drugs you and cuts you open on the spot and steals your kidney, or steals your kidneys, if that's a fear for you, if you knew it, there was a high chance of it, and you were in the area for such a thing, like, you probably would be disturbed. But it's already happened, though. In the manner of speaking, of course, more in terms of, well, the dynamic between the sociological operating system and the neurological operating system. Being that within the neural we have agents which connect to the social control structure, the externalized memory objects, which are interacting with the cosmos and the symbology of the agent host. And so we're talking about the areas of concern for the body and all of the different things that need to go on for a society to work, and for the body to be fed and cleaned, and all these kind of needs of society. Some shelter, a place to stay. So long ago we started specialization, and or could just describe it as a division of labor. So it's kind of a natural phenomenon that people work as a team, and one is good at one thing, one is good at the other, and even in a tribal setting, you have people better at this or better at that, and you all just kind of fit in. So there was never this ideal of the one man can do everything society of just complete isolationist loners on some kind of cyber homestead, thinking that they're independent. While their systems decay. So anyways, so that's your organs having been harvested, you could say, long ago, and you're just born into this state, into the way that it is. But either way, if we look at ourselves and our responsibilities and what kind of skills we have and what we know how to do, many of us are completely hopeless and helpless in any kind of basics of life. I mean, not aside from like, well, I mean hygiene and stuff, but we have very set expectations of where our products come from and what that we should be consuming our products and services, which make up the organs. The commodities are the mind's objectification of outputs of processes that take care of the needs of certain concerns. And I think, again, I've covered a lot of ground. It's probably enough for one day. It's kind of cold out. It's only about 9 degrees Celsius. It's about 50 Fahrenheit. And it's after 10 o'clock, so it's already my bedtime. So I'm just going to not do a marathon and carry this on. Probably not tomorrow because I'm probably busy after work. Probably have to give it a rest. Maybe I might be able to. Probably I should download the audio tracks just to back them up on the computer, and hopefully find some kind of software for transcribing, for automatically transcribing. So I'll probably get some more time in either tomorrow if work might happen to be slow, or likely Friday, a couple hours Friday. Yep, and I think that's it. That's good for now. So, signing out.